Ladies and gentlemen, in our fast-paced world, where everything seems to move at lightning speed, we often forget the importance of silence. We get caught up in the constant hustle, trying to achieve, trying to do more, trying to prove ourselves. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you can do is to stop and be silent? Silence is not just the absence of noise. It's a state of being where you can truly connect with yourself and the universe. When you are silent, you give space for things to unfold naturally. It's in the moments of quiet that we find clarity, that we discover our true desires, and that we align ourselves with what's meant for us. Silence is a tool that many overlook in today's busy world. It's often misunderstood, viewed as something negative or empty. But silence, in its purest form, is a space of immense power. When we talk about silence, we are not just referring to the absence of sound. We are talking about a state of stillness within ourselves. This stillness is a profound connection with our inner being and with the world around us. It is a way of tuning into the rhythm of life that goes beyond the surface noise of daily existence. We live in a world where noise and constant movement are seen as symbols of success and productivity. The louder we are, the more we do, the more we seem to be achieving. We fill every moment with activity, believing that every minute must be accounted for and that we must constantly be working towards something. Yet, in all this noise, we often lose ourselves. We become disconnected from our true purpose, overwhelmed by the demands of others and the constant pressure to perform. This is where silence becomes essential. In silence, we stop trying to force things. We stop pushing ourselves and others to meet external expectations. Instead, we turn inward, giving ourselves permission to pause, to be present. This is not about abandoning our goals or responsibilities. It is about finding a balance. It's about creating space for clarity to enter our lives. When we embrace silence, we are not running away from the world. Rather, we are taking a step back so that we can reconnect with ourselves. In this silence, we can hear our own thoughts without the interference of outside noise. The world has a rhythm, a flow that is always moving, even if we cannot always see it. When we align ourselves with this rhythm, we find that things begin to come together naturally. We stop forcing and start allowing. It's a delicate shift in perspective from a mindset of control to one of trust. Instead of constantly pushing against life, we begin to flow with it. And in this flow, things don't happen because we demanded them to. They happen because we allowed them to. Silence teaches us patience. It's in the stillness that we realize that not everything needs to be done immediately. In our fast-paced lives, we often feel that we must act now or risk losing an opportunity. But silence reveals a different truth, that sometimes the best actions are those that are taken in their own time. Rushing through life leads to mistakes, missteps, and missed opportunities. But when we allow ourselves the space to reflect, to think deeply, and to wait, we find that our decisions are more thoughtful, more aligned with our true desires. When we are silent, we allow space for the universe to work. We stop trying to control every aspect of our lives and allow life to unfold. The truth is, many of the things we chase after come to us naturally when we stop fighting for them. We often spend so much energy chasing success, love, and validation, but in the pursuit, we miss the opportunity to let these things come to us effortlessly. Silence gives us the space to attract what is meant for us. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to help us understand what truly matters. We can easily get caught up in what society tells us is important. We get distracted by what others are doing, thinking that we need to follow their path to be successful or happy. But silence allows us to hear our own voice. It brings us back to the core of who we are. When we listen deeply, we realize that everything we need is already inside us. Silence doesn't just teach us to listen to the world, it teaches us to listen to ourselves. In the quiet moments, we can reflect on what truly matters to us. The constant rush to get things done often leaves us disconnected from our passions, our dreams, and our inner truth. Silence gives us the opportunity to reconnect with those things. It clears the clutter, allowing us to see clearly and act with intention. It's in the quiet that we find the strength to move forward, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire. This is why silence is not something to be feared. It is a powerful tool for growth, healing, and self-discovery. When we make room for silence, we make room for everything else to fall into place. We create the space for our true purpose to emerge, for the things that belong in our lives to come to us. And when that happens, we realize that everything we've been waiting for was always there, just waiting for us to stop and listen. Silence is not merely the absence of noise. It is the space where everything begins to align itself. In a world constantly buzzing with activity, we often forget that the most important things in life do not come from force, but from allowing things to happen naturally. Silence gives us the space to step back and simply observe. It allows us to witness the unfolding of life without rushing in to control every detail. When we are silent, we create a powerful void where possibilities can emerge, where new ideas can take shape, and where the world around us can unfold in its natural rhythm. Most of us are conditioned to believe that we must always be doing something. We must be constantly moving, constantly working, constantly proving our worth. But in this constant hustle, we lose the ability to truly see what's happening around us. Our vision becomes clouded by the noise of our daily lives. The constant distractions prevent us from noticing the subtle shifts, the small signs, and the quiet moments that are often the most important. Silence, however, offers us the gift of stillness. It's in the stillness that we find clarity. We begin to understand the bigger picture, not because we are trying to control it, but because we have allowed ourselves to see it without interference. In silence, we let go of the need to push and strive for everything we want. We stop trying to bend the universe to our will. Instead, we trust that the right things will come to us in their own time. This is not to say that we should stop taking action, or that we should sit passively waiting for things to happen. Rather, it means that we stop fighting the flow of life. We stop trying to force outcomes, and instead, we allow ourselves to be open to what the universe has in store for us. This act of surrender, this act of letting go, is where the magic happens. The universe, or whatever you believe in, works in its own way and in its own time. It has a rhythm that is different from ours, and when we stop forcing our own rhythm onto it, we can experience the natural unfolding of life's blessings. The idea of letting go can be challenging, especially for those of us who are used to being in control. We often feel that we need to take charge of every aspect of our lives, that if we don't do something, nothing will happen. But silence teaches us that there is strength in letting go. It teaches us that we don't need to control everything in order to achieve our desires. In fact, by letting go, we create space for things to come to us naturally. When we stop forcing things into our lives, we allow them to enter on their own terms, which often turns out to be more aligned with our true desires than anything we could have planned ourselves. There is something profoundly freeing about this idea. When we stop rushing to meet deadlines, to fulfill expectations, to meet other people's demands, we create space for what truly matters. We stop filling our lives with meaningless noise and distractions, and instead allow ourselves to focus on the things that truly bring us joy, peace, and fulfillment. Silence offers us the opportunity to reflect on what is truly important. It gives us the time and the space to understand our true desires, our goals, and our purpose. When we are constantly moving, we don't have the luxury of reflection. But in silence, we can truly understand ourselves, and when we understand ourselves, we can make choices that are in alignment with who we truly are. Silence helps us find the courage to trust the timing of our lives. We are often anxious about the future, wondering when things will fall into place, when success will come, when we will achieve our goals. Silence teaches us that everything has its own timing, and that when we stop pushing and rushing, everything will unfold as it is meant to. It's in the quiet moments of life that we are able to find the patience we need to trust the process. We realize that life is not a race. It's a journey, and sometimes the best things come to us when we stop trying so hard to chase them. When we embrace silence, we embrace the natural flow of life. We allow the world to move around us, and we move with it rather than against it. In this flow, we discover that things don't need to be forced. They come naturally when the time is right. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. We are constantly surrounded by noise, whether it's the chatter of social media, the constant barrage of notifications, or the pressure to keep up with others. This constant noise can overwhelm us and prevent us from truly focusing on what matters most. It creates a sense of urgency, as though we must always be doing something, achieving something, moving forward at all times. But in the midst of all this, silence offers us a powerful reset. It allows us to step back, to breathe, and to rediscover what truly matters. Silence is not just about the absence of sound. It is about the absence of distractions. It's about removing the things that keep us from being present in the moment. In silence, we create the space to reconnect with ourselves. We can't do this when we are constantly distracted by external forces. It's in these quiet moments that we can reflect on our lives, our choices, and our goals. We can ask ourselves the important questions that often get drowned out by the noise. What do we really want? What are we passionate about? What do we need to let go of in order to move forward? These are the questions that silence helps us to hear. When we embrace silence, we start to tune out the noise and start to listen more intently to our own inner voice. We become more aware of what is happening inside us, rather than being constantly pulled in different directions by the demands of the outside world. It is in these moments of stillness that we find our clarity. We can hear our instincts, our true desires, and our authentic needs. It's almost as if the noise fades away, and we can see the path forward more clearly. Without the distractions of daily life, we can see what is truly important to us, and we can make decisions that align with our core values. One of the most profound benefits of silence is its ability to help us reset our priorities. In a world that often values productivity above all else, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We get caught up in the rush, constantly moving from one task to the next, without taking the time to consider whether what we are doing is truly fulfilling. Silence gives us the time and space to reflect on our lives, to evaluate what is working and what isn't, and to recalibrate our goals. It allows us to step back and look at the bigger picture. When we are silent, we can think deeply about our true purpose, our passions, and our long-term vision. It's in these moments of quiet that we often find the answers we have been searching for. Furthermore, silence helps us to regain our peace of mind. We live in a world where stress is rampant. The pressure to constantly perform, to meet deadlines, to keep up with the ever-changing demands of life can leave us feeling mentally and emotionally drained. Silence offers us a reprieve from this constant stress. It allows us to calm our minds and restore our sense of balance. In silence, we can release the tension that builds up in our bodies and our minds. We can let go of the worries, the doubts, and the anxieties that weigh us down. And when we do this, we find that we are better able to face the challenges that lie ahead with a clearer mind and a renewed sense of energy. In a world where everything seems to demand our attention, silence also helps us to create healthy boundaries. We are often pulled in many different directions, whether it's by the needs of others, our work, or our own inner desires. Silence helps us to recognize when we need to step back and say no. It gives us the strength to prioritize our own well-being and to protect our time and energy. When we are silent, We can hear our own needs more clearly. We can discern when it is time to rest, when it is time to focus, and when it is time to take action. Silence allows us to become more intentional in our choices, to make decisions that are aligned with our true selves, rather than being driven by external pressures. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to bring us back to the present moment. In a world that constantly pulls us into the future or the past, silence grounds us in the here and now. It helps us to appreciate the simple things, to find joy in the present, and to be fully engaged in the moment. It's easy to get caught up in our worries about the future or our regrets about the past, but silence reminds us that the only moment we truly have is this one. It helps us to embrace life as it is, without the need for constant striving or the pressure to constantly be doing more. Silence is a powerful tool for recentering ourselves and reconnecting with what truly matters. It allows us to step away from the noise of the world and find peace, clarity, and purpose. In silence, we rediscover our true selves, and we allow life to unfold naturally in its own time. By embracing silence, we give ourselves the space to grow, to heal, and to live a more intentional, peaceful life. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, we often forget the importance of letting things unfold naturally. We are constantly told to hustle, to make things happen, to be proactive in our pursuits. But in our drive to achieve, we sometimes overlook the beauty and power of patience. Silence teaches us that not everything needs to be forced. Some things simply need time. When we step back, relax, and let things happen in their own time, we open ourselves to the natural flow of life, and this can lead to outcomes we never could have planned for or expected. For most of us, the temptation to control every aspect of our lives is overwhelming. We feel as though if we don't take charge of every moment, we might miss out on opportunities or let life slip by. This sense of urgency can lead to stress, anxiety, and frustration. However, silence shows us that there is a different approach to life. It encourages us to take a breath, to pause, and to trust that the right things will come at the right time. We often fight against life's natural rhythm because we are too focused on our own agendas. But when we allow things to unfold naturally, we find that they often come to us with greater ease and alignment. The more we try to force outcomes, the more resistant life becomes. But when we step back, things seem to happen effortlessly, almost as if the universe is working in harmony with our desires. One of the key lessons of silence is the realization that not everything is in our control. This can be a difficult pill to swallow, especially for those of us who are used to being in control of our lives. We want things to happen quickly, we want answers now, and we want success on our terms. But silence teaches us that there is wisdom in patience. It reminds us that life's journey is not a race, and that rushing to get to the end can often lead to burnout and disappointment. When we allow ourselves to rest in the present moment, we give space for things to come to us without the constant pressure to make them happen. In this space, we can embrace the ebb and flow of life, knowing that everything has its season. The right relationships, opportunities, and experiences will come to us when the time is right, and when we stop forcing them, we will see that they arrive with more ease and fulfillment. The concept of patience is closely tied to the practice of silence. Patience is not simply about waiting for something to happen. It's about having the trust and the faith that things will unfold as they should. Silence creates the space where we can nurture this patience. It gives us the room to pause, to reflect, and to observe how things are progressing without the need to rush them. When we take a step back, we allow ourselves to see the bigger picture. We stop focusing on the small details that cause us stress and start to appreciate the beauty of the journey. Patience, cultivated through silence, allows us to remain calm and centered, even when life doesn't go as planned. It reminds us that delays, setbacks, and obstacles are often part of the process, and that these moments can lead to growth and unexpected blessings. In the silence, we also learn to trust the timing of our lives. It's easy to get frustrated when things aren't happening as quickly as we would like, or when our plans don't unfold in the way we imagined. But silence teaches us to trust that everything is happening in its own time. It reminds us that the universe has a rhythm, and when we align ourselves with it, we allow things to come into our lives at the perfect moment. We don't need to rush or force things to happen. When we surrender to life's timing, we find that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences all come to us when we are ready for them. We don't need to chase after them. They will appear naturally when the time is right. Patience also teaches us that the journey is just as important as the destination. We often become so fixated on our goals and outcomes that we forget to appreciate the process. Silence helps us to slow down and savor each moment. It allows us to enjoy the steps we are taking, rather than constantly looking ahead to the next thing. In this way, silence helps us to be present, to enjoy the present moment, and to trust that the future will unfold exactly as it is meant to. When we stop rushing, we begin to notice the beauty in the small things, the quiet moments that make up the fabric of our lives. These moments are often more valuable than any achievement or goal we could pursue. So, as we embrace silence, we also embrace patience. We let go of the need to control everything and trust that life will unfold in its own time. We create the space for things to come to us naturally, and in doing so, we find that we are able to achieve our goals with greater ease and fulfillment. Silence helps us to quiet the noise, to trust the process, and to allow life to flow in its own rhythm. And in this space of peace and trust, we discover that everything we need will come to us exactly when we need it. When we talk about finding clarity, we often imagine that it comes from doing more, from seeking out information, from being busy and constantly engaged in the world around us. But clarity does not come from endless noise and chaos. It comes from quiet moments, from silence, where we can tune out the distractions and listen to what our heart and mind are telling us. Silence provides a unique opportunity to remove the clutter and allow our thoughts to settle, making it easier to hear what's truly important. In the quiet, we are able to reflect deeply, gaining insights that would otherwise be drowned out by the noise of daily life. In our fast-paced society, we are conditioned to think that we need to be constantly doing something to be productive or successful. The constant hustle, the pressure to always be moving forward, often leaves us feeling overwhelmed and unclear about our true desires. We are bombarded with so much information, so many choices, that it's hard to know where to focus our energy. We chase after every new idea, every opportunity, thinking that more is better, but in doing so, we scatter our focus and lose sight of what truly matters. Silence, however, helps us slow down. It provides the space for us to pause, breathe, and reflect. It gives us the chance to regain clarity by focusing on what is essential. When we embrace silence, we give ourselves permission to stop and listen to our inner voice. This inner voice is often drowned out by the noise of our thoughts, the demands of others, and the distractions around us. But in the stillness, we can hear it more clearly. Our inner voice is the guide that helps us navigate through life. It tells us what feels right and what doesn't, what is aligned with our true values and what is not. When we take the time to listen, we are able to make decisions with greater confidence, because we are not reacting to the noise around us, but rather responding from a place of clarity and purpose. The power of silence lies in its ability to bring us back to the present moment. We often live in a state of constant anticipation, always thinking about what's next. We dwell on the past or worry about the future, forgetting to be present in the here and now. Silence anchors us in the present moment. It allows us to let go of the worries about what's to come and the regrets of what has already passed. In the quiet, we can focus on the present, on what is right in front of us. This is where true clarity is found, in the present moment, where we can see things as they are, without the distortion of